Now that we've got everything set up and configured and ready to work with, this chapter is dedicated to NPM. In it, we're going to really get to know how to work with NPM, starting with understanding what it actually is. Throughout this chapter, we're going to go step by step and learn how to use NPM to, first of all, we're going to learn how to self-update NPM, how to install and uninstall packages in the global and local scope. Now, don't worry too much about what that means, because by the end of this chapter, you're definitely going to know what it means and know how to work with this. We're also going to learn how to declare NPM packages with package.json, which will enable us to create Node.js applications or register our Node applications with NPM. Last but not least, which one of the most important topics, we're going to learn about version controlling packages, literally learning the semvar syntax and understand how it works. So by the end of this chapter, you're going to have all the critical key components of knowing how to work with NPM, which is going to super empower you as a developer when we go into Node.js in the following chapter. So let's get started with the first topic, and really the first topic is, what is NPM? NPM stands for Node Package Manager, and Node is for the core technology, that programming language slash world, that our developer language, which is in JavaScript, that enables us to build packages and code that will work on a server. That Node Package Manager basically enables us to share and get content from other developers, other code snippets, to integrate into our code. So instead of languages like PHP and other platforms that have most of the core functionalities pre-built, pre-packaged into PHP, and then we would just use them, contrary to that, the Node Package Manager enables you to have a very basic construct, a very basic language, and then you would extend it by calling different elements, installing different elements very easily to add new features that all the developer community around the world are doing. So Node is a package manager, and when you think of a package manager, it is exactly the same way as Google Play or the Apple Store works, where you install an application directly through Apple or Google, and then you could then get automatic updates or physically update different applications based on your choice without needing to go to 1,000,001 different places, knowing that it's going through one venue, one place that is managing the repository of all the different applications. The same applies to NPM when it comes to Node related content. Now, so it's basically a repository, as we said, for Node packages. And it maintains version control, making it easier for you to then say, I need a specific version of the application that is, for example, when a new operating system updates for the iOS, then there's a new update to the application. But that application is not applicable, wouldn't work on an older device. So by letting you as a developer gain access to specific versions, you can make sure that you're working with a version that you know will work with your application, and secure yourself from updates in the future by not updating it, for example, not updating it, and enabling you to keep the version that you know will work for your system. So that's really NPM. With that said, what we're going to do in this lecture, we're going to update our NPM version, and in the process, we're going to fix our permissions that will be broken when we're updating our NPM version. We're going to install by the end of this lecture the latest version of NPM. So there we go. Let's get started. The default version of NPM that is installed when you install Node.js, NPM, is not that up to date. It's up to date, but it's really relative to the latest stable version that was released of Node.js. But in reality, your package manager is best to be the latest version it can be always. And once in a while, you want to make sure that you have the latest version. In this lecture, that's exactly what we're going to do. And to do that, the steps involved with that are just typing npm install npm -g. Now, I want to talk about this process here. NPM is the command that we're working with. It's our package manager. If you've watched our Linux videos on the installation of Node.js on a Linux, you saw that we used on CentOS a package manager that was called yum. NPM is very similar to that. It works in similar syntax where we're basically asking from NPM to install something. What do we want to install? Well, we want to install NPM. Where do we want to install it? We want to install it globally so everyone will have access to it. So no matter in what folder I'm at, I'll be able to use this latest version of NPM. This is not a version or a package that I want only stored locally. It's a package I want stored globally. In reality, I'm treating the installation of an update to NPM like the installation of any package, as we're going to see in the following lectures when we install packages. In this case, we want to make sure that it's installed globally. Now, if I go ahead and I press enter, in my case, I didn't have the permissions set and configured correctly. By default, when you install Node.js on Mac or PC for that matter, you might see this error. If you see this error, that means your permissions are not processed correctly, they're not configured correctly. I'm going to go ahead and clear my view here, but what I want you to do now is type npm config get prefix. Now the get prefix command is going to go into our configuration file to find out where is our npm located. In this case, npm is located in the user folder and the local folder. And that is true. If I go inside and I look here, I'll see that among other things I have installed for my local user here, for users in general, really, not only this user, you'll see that I have your bin, I have Git, I have a lot of other things. And among those things, among those packages, the prefix before that is our npm. So if I take a deeper look here and I actually go inside of my bin folder, and I do a search inside of here, I'll see a lot of other packages, and among those packages, I'm going to see the Node package, and I'm going to see my NPM. Now, really, NPM is the one that I'm most interested in. Now, what I really want to do is I want to go through my process, making sure that I could change all the things that I really need to make sure that it's going to work properly. Now, there's a few places where Node.js works with. One is in the share folder, if it exists. In our case, here we go, we have a share folder. It stores things inside of, It stores things inside of the share folder. It stores things inside of the bin folder. It stores things inside of the folder lib, and in there it has its modules. So if I go inside here, I'll be able to see beyond only having the things that are related to other applications, you'll see that node modules are in here as well, which is something that is used by NPM. If I go inside of the share folder, you'll see that there's other things beyond the related things to Node.js and NPM. So really, when I'm going to go through this process, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change permissions more or less in everything inside of our core bin folder. Outside of that, it's not only in our bin/npm, but I actually want to change the whole bin folder. I want to change the whole share folder, and I want to share the folder of lib/node modules. Now, if you don't want to go through and make all of these changes, there's other ways of doing this, and you could learn about how to do that in a document that I have attached to this chapter. In our case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and change the owners, because currently, by the way, if we take a look at who are the owners of these folders, you'll see that root, some of them are me, some of them are the root, some of them are an admin. They're not all me, and what I really want is I want to make sure that are needed by NPM are mine, so I could then work with them on my own. So to be able to do that, I'm going to go ahead and clear the view again here. I'm going to type here I'm going to type your sudo because I want to access as the root, and I'm going to change the owner of recursively. I'm going to change the owner to who? To myself. So I'm going to type who am I, which will make sure that it's going to be whoever you are, whoever the user that currently is. I'm going to put a space, and I'm going to list out the folders that I want to have changed. In this case, the folder that I want is the folder that we got from npm config get prefix. So that's going to make sure that I'm going to get access to that core folder, that user local. Now I'm going to put here a slash, and I'm going to list out inside of a curly bracket all the folders that I really want to change. So we had the lib/node modules. There's the bin folder. And again, the bin folder is shared among a lot of different applications. And if your device is being used by many other people, you probably wouldn't want to change it, and you'd want to look into our documentation. But in general, most Macs, at least my Mac, I'm only working myself, so it's okay that I'm going to turn this to be completely mine. And I'm going to go ahead and also change the share folder and close our curly bracket. So again, I just want to walk through what I'm doing here. I'm asking sudo, I'm asking from the root to change the owner recursively to be me of the folders that first the folder we got from npm config get prefix, which is in my case the user/local, and then I want to change the list of folders that are in this curly bracket, which are our lib node modules, our bin folder, our share folder, and I'm separating them using a comma. If I go ahead and click on enter, it's going to go through the process of changing the owner. I just have to make sure that I provide the password, my root password, which I've just done. Once I provided the root password, if I go ahead and I look at what are those files, who owns them, you're going to see that our bin folder is now mine completely. Our share folder is mine completely. And if I go into my lib folder, which the lib, by the way, is owned by some number, but if I go into the lib folder and I search for that specific folder, in our case, we're looking for the node modules, and you'll see in my node modules that not the root owns it, but actually Ben Fala owns it, which is me. This is my username. Awesomeness. So now that I've went through all of this process, I'm going to clear here. And once I've done with all this process, I could go ahead and now my permissions should be set. So I'm going to ask for NPM again to install NPM in our global folder. I'm not going to need to use sudo or anything like that. And by the way, if you can't change those permissions, you could try and use sudo or look at other solutions that we have in the documentation that's provided with this chapter. But go ahead, and even before we do that, let's see what version. So let's remember what version of NPM we have here, NPM-V. Our current version is 3.9.393, and if I'm going to go again, npm install npm-g, and I'm going to go ahead and set up the connection. It's going to go through it, searching to see if there's a newer version than 3.9.3, and once it goes through, connects to the web, finds the file, downloads it, and installs it, it's going to do all this process on its own once you had the configuration set up and configured correctly. And you can see that now we updated our version of npm to 3.95, and we've updated also our whatever this is. All right, that's it. And that wraps up our discussion about how do you update NPM, and also how you set up and configure NPM so you can start doing all the installs that we're going to do throughout this chapter and beyond. And now we've updated from 3.93 to 3.95, and I encourage you once in a while to run this command every few weeks just to make sure that you have the latest version of NPM. In this lecture, we got to know the basic idea behind NPM and got NPM to be running and without permission issues.